So this is the Google Earth portion of my hurricane unit, and there are a few things I'm just going to highlight for you. So the first thing that the students will be taking a look at is there's an overlay on the Earth. This depicts the surface water temperatures of the oceans, and this is a critical factor in the formation of hurricanes, and we go into detail on another lesson about that information. Just wanted to show them a visual of that. Mainly, this tour is to highlight some of the deadliest and most costly hurricanes that have occurred in the last century. So I'm going to start the tour. We're going to stop at a couple of the places. We're not going to go through all of them, just to kind of show you what the students will be taking a look at. So our first stop on the tour is going to be off the coast of China. So in this region, the storm is called a cyclone, and the only difference here is that the region that it originated, they're the same type of storm, same type of weather phenomenon, they're just named different names depending on where they originate and what region they affect. So this one occurred in 1970, and the students will be able to take a look at some information. This image shows the track of this storm. There's also some text that includes information. Mainly what I want students to focus on when viewing these different hurricanes, cyclones, typhoons, is comparing and contrasting what are the factors that contribute to the damage that occurs and the loss of life. So population density, category of the storm, flooding, those are the factors that really will determine preparedness, warnings, that's the information that the students will be taking a look at. So the students will also be able to click on the images, which will take them to some further information where they can do some research. Those aren't accessible on this video. So close that. We'll go to our next stop. And again, we're only going to take a look at a couple of these. This one also was a storm off the coast of China. This one was the second deadliest and occurred in 1975. Again, flooding was a leading contributor to the loss of life, and also warning systems that weren't in place at that time. Evacuation, preparedness, those kinds of things. Again, the students would be able to click on this image and get further information. We're going to take a couple more peeks at these. We're going to look a little closer to home. This is a hurricane that occurred off the coast of Mexico, Hurricane Kena. And this was actually a larger hurricane. Those others, the last two storms we took a look at were only Category 3, so this is actually a larger storm. And if we click on that, we can see this is a good visual of what a hurricane looks like from a satellite image. This hurricane occurred in 1992, I believe, and was one of 3 Category 5 hurricanes during that season. So this was a particularly active season. The last one I'm going to take a look at, and I'm going to jump ahead here, is Hurricane Katrina. We're all familiar with that hurricane. And let's see if I can get it to actually zoom over there. There we go. So this hurricane occurred in 2005 and was one of 5 of the deadliest ever recorded, flooding 80% of Louisiana. So some of the students should probably remember this, although I do know my high school students were not all that aware of what happened, and so this one seems to be of particular interest to students. So those kind of highlight some of the hurricanes. If you want to see all of them, you can access the tour in its entirety. The other thing that I wanted to highlight on this map is the students will have an opportunity, I'm going to scroll out for this piece of it, to choose some tracks that have been overlaid. And so for the first one I'm going to highlight, they have hurricane tracks all the way back to the 1850s for the Atlantic. So I'm just going to click on the 2000. These are hurricanes that have occurred since 2000, between 2000 and 2010. That's what this legend up here in the corner is depicting as the category of the storm. The students would be able to click on these pop-ups and see the name of the storm at at this point in its track what the sustained winds were, what the pressure was. So we're going to get a little more into the science of hurricanes, and they're going to collect and compare some data. So that we'll click on one more that just highlights maybe a little stronger storm here. This is a Category 5. So as you can see, the sustained winds are 140 miles an hour in this storm. So they have access to tracks from all over the globe. And so they will actually be choosing a region and then doing further research and creating their own Google tour highlighting a particular region. So, for instance, we can click off that one, and we can take a look at some of the Pacific tracks. So these are the hurricanes that have occurred in the Pacific, Eastern North Pacific since 2000. And again, they can scroll into those and they can take a look at data that's highlighted for each of these. So Carlotta, sustained winds of only 25. So this one probably would only have been categorized as a tropical depression at that time. So this includes tropical depressions, tropical storms, all the way up to Category 5 hurricanes. You can see just from looking at these tracks, the intensity of the hurricanes is far less in the Pacific than it is in the Atlantic. We have fewer Category 3 and above storms that occur there. And that will do it for my tour. Hope you enjoyed it.